world scientific community is mourning the death of one of the greatest scientific minds. Prominent British physicist Stephen Hawking has died at the age of 76. Famed for his work with black holes and relativity, Professor Hawking also wrote several popular science books, including A Brief History of Time. At the age of 22, he was diagnosed with a rare motor neuron disease and was given 2 years to live. The illness left Hawking in a wheelchair and largely unable to speak, except through a voice synthesizer. But he went on to study at Cambridge and became one of the most brilliant scientists since Albert Einstein. In addition to his considerable scientific achievements, Stephen Hawking was also known for his support for Palestine. In May 2013, the renowned scientist boycotted a high-profile academic event in Israel. The conference was being hosted by then Israeli President Shimon Peres. In a letter, Hawking told the event organizers that Israel's policy was likely to lead to, quote, disaster.
And I think that Stephen Hawking, in refusing to go to that conference 5 years ago, he echoed the disgust of many decent people. And it is growing among young people. There's a recognition now that Israel is another South Africa, another mini Third Reich. Its Lebensraum policies of a relativity Israel are disgraceful in a civilized world.
Hawking's decision drew positive reactions from the supporters of global pro-Palestinian campaign, the Boycott, Divestment and Sanctions movement. The BDS calls for increasing economic and political pressure on Israel until the regime ends its occupation and violations of international law.
It says the breadth of the man, really. He wasn't just a great scientist. He was a great humanist, he was a socialist, and he was a supporter of the Palestinian cause. He refused to attend a conference in Israel unless he was permitted to visit the West Bank and the occupied territories. The Israelis denied him, and he refused to go in support of the Palestinian people. So I think that's the measure of the man, and for that he was witch hunted by the right-wing Zionist and Zionist press in the United Kingdom.
Stephen Hawking's support for the Palestinian cause was not limited to a boycott of Israel. Last year, he asked millions of his followers on social media to contribute financially to a physics lecture series for master's students in the occupied West Bank. The prominent physicist also publicly congratulated a Palestinian woman who won the Global Teacher Prize for the year 2016, while many Western scientists remain silent on Hanan al-Hrub's achievement.
But I think the Western media is complicit in a conspiracy to silence the horrors of Israeli occupation in Palestine. The Israelis, the Zionists, I should say, have defiled the Jewish people in the way the Nazis defiled the Germans. They have used the Holocaust as an excuse to treat the Palestinian people in the way Hitler treated them. There is a program now for culling Palestinian children. They shoot teenagers with live bullets, and nothing of this comes out in the Western press.
Stephen Hawking was trapped in his own body by the rare disease and lived with the prospect of an early death for about 5 decades. But that did not stop the renowned scientist from speaking up for the rights of Palestinians, who have for decades been bearing the brunt of Israel's occupation of their homeland.